All right. Are we on? Is it working? My Mac just updated itself yesterday and I had to reinstall everything to get this working. So I'm going to get on YouTube on another device and make sure it's working. Since I'm only able to use one screen today, it's a little cumbersome. So bear with me for 2 seconds. I'm in the process of moving offices, so half of my stuff's in one place and the other half's in the other. Bear with me for 2 seconds. Okay, cool, it's working. Okay, cool. So welcome everybody to a Saturday webinar. It's been a few weeks since we did one of these, but I saw a few people signed up, so I figured I would just go ahead and do it despite being mid-office move. Lately I've been writing a lot. We're building a new website. We're kind of rethinking how we describe all the things we do. We've been doing this stuff for so long. When I say we, I mean my team and I. We've been doing this stuff for so long that we kind of just do it, and we don't often think about like how we're doing it or about explaining what we're doing. But it makes it really difficult to explain it when somebody asks, like a customer, so what exactly is going to happen? What can I expect? And without unloading a 1,000-word stream of consciousness on them and confusing the living stuff out of them, I've been working on easier ways to describe this stuff. And so one way to approach it is to look at like who you are as a business owner or a marketer or whatever the situation is. There's basically 3 situations that we'll find ourselves marketing for. The first one is a new business, somebody that's just starting their business, needs to get set up. They need a website, they need branding, they need social media, they need whatever they need. They need to just get their basics in order. And this kind of person might not know exactly what their 1 or 3 or 5 year goal is. They just are getting started. They need to do whatever the bare minimum is to get moving. So that's the first situation, is somebody that's just getting started. The second situation is a company. Usually they've been in business for a while. They know they need to invest in marketing, but that's all they know. They don't have any really clear goals that they're trying to achieve with their marketing. They just know they want steady growth year over year in the long term, and that they want to allocate some resources to this to ensure the success of their business in the long run. And this is a fine strategy for businesses that already have a good steady flow of customers coming in, or they get lots of referrals. And they don't necessarily need to do this, but they know they should. And a lot of times someone can take this approach, put a little bit of marketing every month, and never really get to the point where they have to progress past that. If you get to this stage early enough and you invest enough in the long run, it'll usually take care of itself. Now the third situation is somebody that has concrete goals. They know exactly what they're trying to do. It's like, okay, we did $1 million last year, we want to do $2 million this year. We need literally twice as many customers, or we need to increase our prices, or they have more concrete numbers that they're trying to achieve. And so in this kind of circumstance, we'll take a different approach of actually figuring out what it's going to take to achieve those goals. Whereas in the other 2 situations, there really aren't clear goals. So it's more of a blanket, cover the basics, fundamental approach to marketing, where in the third situation, we'd really spend a lot more time in the early phase of diagnosing the problem, looking at all the aspects of the situation, and then coming up with a plan that's actually going to really solve this stuff. What situation would you find yourself in? Go ahead and type it into the chat if you'd like. Are you somebody who's just getting started? You just figuring out what you need to do to get some momentum? That's number 1. Are you number 2? Know you need to invest in marketing, but you don't have any real concrete goals. You're just looking for some stable long-term growth. Or are you number 3, which is you know exactly what you're trying to achieve and you're looking for a perfect plan of action to achieve that specific thing. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is this pyramid of marketing. Let's see how I can draw this on my computer so I can share it with you. It's going to be difficult with one screen, but we can do it. Let's see. Where did it go? Just wait for Adobe to open. I hope it doesn't take 8 years because my computer just updated itself. Alright, there we go. Okay, so let's draw. There we go. We're going to do this with a mouse pad. Hey, that's pretty good. Okay, so we've got a pyramid. And there's 4 levels to this pyramid. The bottom level is like your basic, think of the food pyramid or like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like the things on the bottom are like the foundation. They come first. And then as you move up the pyramid, it gets more specific or more specialized. So if you're in situation, 1 or 2, where you're either just getting started in business or you want to make sure your business has a marketing plan, then you're going to start at the bottom. And this is where we find your website. Oh man, that's hard to draw. We got your website, we have your Google Maps listing. These are things that pretty much every business is going to need. GMB stands for Google My Business. So your website, your Google Maps listing, you might have like your Facebook profile, LinkedIn, if you think that's an important thing in your industry. This is just all the stuff that, you can start your own Facebook, you can get your own Google Maps listing. A lot of people build their own websites. This is just like foundational stuff that every business needs. And whether you're just getting started or really no matter what category you're in, you should have this one covered. Like if this one isn't covered, if all this stuff isn't straight, then moving up the pyramid could be difficult for you. Okay, so that's like the basic stuff. The next level is moving up, like the specialization spectrum would be PPC, which is like pay-per-click advertising. That's Google Ads, that's Facebook. Let's make sure that you guys can see what I'm talking about here. So now we're trying to achieve more specific goals most of the time, but some people just run PPC ads because it brings in more business in general. And if it's not a really targeted ads campaign or strategy, then it's going to probably be pretty wasteful, but a lot of companies do this stuff anyway. So PPC, advertising, billboards, stuff like that. You're adding on to the marketing foundation that you already have. Now the next level up is you're moving to the back end. So all this stuff is front end right here. That means anybody on the planet can see this stuff. If they're on Facebook, they'll see you there. If they're looking for a local service in your area, they'll see you on Google Maps. All that stuff is public facing. This third level here it's called backend. It's private facing. This is like email marketing. You could do regular mail marketing. This is stuff that you send people that are already in your list. These are people that have already interacted with you. Maybe they're current customers. This is still called marketing, even though it's not a website. And this is a little bit more advanced and where people tend to go once they've taken care of these these other two levels. So you have your website, your branding's all good, you're on Google Maps, now you're running ads, you're on Google Ads, maybe you send out some flyers to random people. Now you move up and you're starting to send emails to the people in your email list, you're sending mail to past customers, you're trying to get business that way. And then the top level here, I'm just going to put F because there's not really room for anything else. The top level here is what I call focused campaigns. So think about like a really advanced company like Nike. Nike has a new campaign for a new set of shoes or athletic wear that they're coming out with. Let's just call it Nike Swarm. So they'll have everything. It'll be like its own business. It'll be like NikeSwarm.com. They'll have their own Facebook page. They'll have their own ads, their own billboards. This entire campaign will be compartmentalized into one thing. And then everything about it, it'll be like its whole business in of itself. And this is where people really go when they have like specific results they're wanting to achieve. Local businesses don't get here very often, but a good example is like a gym. If a gym wants to get 200 signups in the next 3 months, then they're going to have a specific campaign for this stuff. They'll probably make like a separate website for it, or at least another page on their website. They'll have specific ad campaign for this. They'll probably have a special Facebook page. They'll have graphic design done just for this stuff. They'll send out flyers for it in a mile radius around them, whatever. And it's all going to center around getting 200 people to sign up. That's it. It's not about getting people to sign up for other things. It's not about selling swimming lessons. It's about the specific goal that they're after. And if you're not at this point yet, then I would consider, trying it out. You don't have to be Nike to actually have specific goals for your marketing. In fact, it's really beneficial to have those concrete goals because if you know what you're going after and you know how you're going to measure the results, then you can actually measure the results and learn from what you're doing and figure out if it worked, if it didn't work, what percentage of working did it achieve, and how can you do better next time to achieve it. If you don't have specific goals, then you're not going to be able to get that important feedback. And if you're just like that steady growth guy that wants to put some money into marketing, have a marketing budget every year or whatever, and your goal is just to make sure you're growing, then maybe your metrics easy to measure. Did you sell more this year than last year? If so, then you're in the right path. But if you can get more specific with those goals, there's a lot of ways to approach marketing and stuff like that. And it's the more focused it is, the more effective it's going to be. So some things that this pyramid is actually, I think it's pretty cool. You might think it's stupid, but so on this side, let's see if I can write this stuff. Whoops. Okay, so we got analytics on this side. Oh man. It looks like a first grader's writing this. So we've got analytics on this side. Analytics is data. It's measuring the results of everything that's going on. So like I just said, if you don't have concrete goals, you're not going to be able to measure your progress toward those goals. But if you have a website, Facebook, Google Maps, PPC, every single thing that I put on this pyramid has an analytics software that can track exactly what's going on. You can know how many people are visiting your website, how many people are coming from Google Maps, how many people click on your ads, how many people open your emails. All of this stuff is super important to know, otherwise you're pretty much flying blind. But with analytics, if you're tracking all this stuff, even if you don't have concrete goals now, you can surmise what's going on and come up with goals based on the data if you wish. On this side of the pyramid, we've got goal setting. I'm just going to put GS for my handwriting's sake. So goal setting is important. I've talked about that extensively here. And then branding's at the bottom. Branding is it's like your business's character. Like what does your business say it's going to do, and then what does it actually do? That's what makes up your brand. And if you don't know what your business says it's going to do, then you should probably figure that out before you do any of this other stuff. But if you're like a remodeling contractor, then it's simple. You change people's homes to be the living spaces that they want, or you manufacture, or you build buildings for businesses so they can run their business. Whatever. Like you know what you do, and that's at the core of everything that you say and that you do. And that's your branding, is the messaging, your logo, your colors, all that stuff is going to dictate how you do all of this stuff. And so if you have good branding, if you know exactly what you're setting out to do and you follow through with it, and you have clear goals, and you measure the analytics and the data to see how good you are at achieving your goals with all of this stuff, then you're going to be like in the top 1% of marketers out there, because nobody does this stuff. Nobody takes the time to actually think about what their brand is, and nobody takes the time to set goals, and then hardly anybody knows how to actually measure the results. So if you can do these three things and take advantage of some of the things in this pyramid, then you're going to be a million times better than your competition, most likely. So do we have any questions? Somebody posted a message and retracted it. That's okay. I won't hold it against you. This is kind of a short one, but due to my technological shortcomings today, I'm not going to go on much longer. But if you have any questions, please ask them. I'll hang around for a moment to see if you have any questions. I know there's a few people watching this right now, so type your question into the chat. In the meantime, I'll let you know that we have a Facebook group called Foundational Marketers, where we share all this kind of stuff. We hang out there, so if you want to hang out, talk to us, get some answers to your questions, or share ideas, head over to Facebook, look up the group Foundational Marketers, and click the join button, and we might let you in if you answer the questions right. I also have a lot of videos on this channel about the specifics, like the technical stuff, the tactics. If you're interested in the tactics, check them out. There's a foundational marketing mini course. 5 out of 8 of the videos are published already, so you can go in, you can see exactly what my approach is to starting a project, to building a website, what goes on it, what even the point is of having a website, how to set up your Google Maps, what goes on there, what kind of things should you consider when you're starting that kind of stuff. And the next one I do is going to be about SEO, search engine optimization. So if you're into that stuff, head over there, subscribe. As soon as I publish the next video, you'll get notified. We got a question here, I think. I feel some kind of pressure to invest in marketing, and I feel like I should invest, but I still have some kind of internal debate with myself, and I don't really know the benefits of investing in it. So I would say talk to some marketers like myself and ask whatever questions you have. Let's talk it through. Let's talk about what's going on in your internal debate, what kind of reservations you have against investing in this. Maybe you're hesitant because it's not the right thing for you, and that's totally fine. There's not every situation requires investing in marketing today. Sometimes it's not the right time. Other times there's something better that you could be doing. Like I just got a call, I think it was yesterday, from a guy in Los Angeles. He wants to maybe get his contractor's license, but he wants to see if there's any business opportunity for him first. And so he wanted he wanted to learn more about running Google ads in order to get leads, to see if he could get a project and yada yada. And I just told him straight up, like, building a website and getting a Google Maps or Google Ads campaign working for you would cost upwards of $5,000, and it doesn't even make sense for you to do that at this point. If you want to know if being a contractor is good for you, just go knock on some doors and talk to some people and give them your business card if you have it. And if you can't knock on 100 doors and get any work, then there's no way in hell you're going to get any work through advertising. Like, if you can't get people to hire you one-on-one, then you shouldn't even try advertising. So, it's just, that guy will be much better off just doing some like good old-fashioned door-to-door marketing himself and save himself the money and actually learn some things in the process. Okay, another question. Does this work equally good across different industries? Should somebody invest in marketing even if they don't need more customers? Those are great questions. I'll answer the first one first. Does this work equally across different industries? Yes. What I shared with you today is pretty broad. It can be any kind of business in the world, really. What kind of business will kind of sometimes change what specific tactics you use, but you're always going to need branding, you're always going to need goals, you're always going to need to track the data and know what's going on. 99% of the time, if you're a local business, meaning that you either sell goods or services in your local area, then you will definitely need a website and you'll definitely need to be on Google Maps. Those two things are mission critical. And for most local businesses out there, that's enough. If they do those two things right and they have goals and they track what's going on, they can usually get plenty of customers and meet all of their goals just with those two things. And then, should somebody invest in marketing even if they don't need customers? That just depends on what kind of problems you're dealing with and what problems you might be dealing with in the future. So right now, like, the building industry is super busy, the groundwater industry is super busy. People are like, oh, well, I'm super busy, so why would I even invest in marketing? And you got to ask yourself, is it always going to be like this? Are you always going to be busy? Have you always been busy? For us, like, my family has a remodeling company, and we're super busy right now. We're booked forever. But we've been in this position before. And we've also been through periods where we had no work coming in. And I mean, I would say with the state of the economy and everything, that these good times are probably not going to last forever. And when the hard times come, it's going to be the people that were investing in marketing who are getting all the business because they're able to be found online. But there's other reasons why your marketing and your branding is helpful for you. Okay, say you have plenty of customers right now, but maybe you want to target a different kind of project or a different kind of customer, or you want to expand into another area, or you just want to give yourself more options so that you can raise your prices up. Maybe tweak your branding so you're a little bit higher end so that it's easier to justify charging more. There's just a lot that goes into it, and a lot of it's foundational. Do you ever plan on selling this business? If somebody buys a business, they're going to want to know that there's a really sweet marketing plan in place and that it's actually producing, so that they have the option of stepping into the business and just running it on their own without utilizing your reputation or your past relationships and things like that. I've had a ton of success with word of mouth and it's working really well. How does a regular digital marketing compare to it? So it depends on what you're doing. Like, for us remodeling, even people that hear about us word of mouth, they go to our website, they read about us, they learn about us, they look through all of our pictures. They're vetting us before they talk to us. That's just how people make decisions these days. They go onto our Google Maps and read our reviews and see what people are saying about us. All that stuff is super important. And word of mouth, you want to keep that going as long as you can, but you can't necessarily rely on your customers to get you more customers when you need that. There's been many situations I've found myself in, or like companies that I worked for, who always relied on word of mouth, but then they came up to those points in time where they needed clients and they didn't have any referrals coming in, and it was just a huge mess. And the one I'm thinking of, he waited until that happened to invest in marketing, and it was a very, very painful and expensive 6 months for him. You know, he almost went out of business. So not really worth the risk. If you're busy right now, that means that you're making money. There's no reason why you shouldn't allocate a little bit of that profit into your marketing to ensure that the future of your business is solid. How can I make my business look more professional? Does marketing itself help me achieve that, or should I focus on something different? How can I make my business look more professional? Well, I would ask you, do you feel like your business looks professional? That's the telltale sign. If you're very excited when people see you pull up to their house and you've got your branded truck and your hat and your shirt, and you know all your employees are wearing the same stuff, and when someone asks about you, you're happy to tell them to go check out your website and you're super excited to show everybody, that's a good sign that your brand is professional. If you're ashamed of showing people your website, or ashamed of your appearance or anything like that, then that's a clear sign that it's not professional. So marketing is the act of getting the word out. Like anything that your company does when facing the public, I consider marketing and personal or public relations, marketing and PR. And so, you know, it all ties in together. But, you know, even your service, like your level of service, can be considered marketing, because if you're doing a super awesome job and you're giving people a great experience and you're telling them to tell their friends, like that's marketing. That's you instigating the proliferation of your company. Do people have trouble working with you if they are not in the same state as you? That's a good question. So 9 out of 10 of my clients are not in the same state as me. Most of them I've never met in person, only through Zoom or over the phone. So no, it's really not a problem. Everything we do is online anyways, and so it's, you know, COVID really showed everybody that we're ready with technology we have. We're ready to move online. All right, so that is all the questions. If you have any more, you leave them in the comment section after the video is over. I'll leave this one live, you know, for a few days in case there's any more questions or in case any stragglers want to watch it. And thank you for tuning in. I'd love to hear your feedback. Join us on the Facebook group and check out my other videos. Have a good weekend. I'll see you next time.